Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be going over, in my opinion, are the most toxic, worst, whatever word you want to use, fan bases in our beloved sport of MMA. Now, before we begin, because I can already hear the comment wars a clamoring, if you are a part of these fan bases, that doesn't necessarily mean that you are toxic. No. The fan base you are a part of is toxic. You can like Charles, you can like DDP, you can like Khabib Nurmagomedov, and be perfectly fine. I like all of those fighters. But when you start treating a fandom like a religion, and your favorite fighter is a religious figure, you are weird. You are not a fan. With that out of the way, with that little disclaimer out of the way, let's get started. All going from D tier being slightly annoying all the way up to cancer being cancer. We're going to start with Israel Adesanya. Now, here's the thing. The worst part about you is you guys blatantly, disregard every weird thing that's been brought up about Israel. Y'all were coping hard when the Strickland and the what the hell MMA guru was digging up. The thing is, even if you don't like those people, not a lot of people do, some people think they go a little bit too far, what they brought up was legit. Like, the dog video, that's a legit video. I'm sorry. Like, when people were defending it, like, oh, you don't do this with your dog, you're the weird one. That's kind of the moment where I say, pause. What are we doing? In those scenarios, that's when you guys are toxic. And really, that's about. Oh, and yeah, you guys really believe that Israel Adesanya should get an immediate title shot after every single rematch he loses? I understand Pereira. I don't understand the Strickland one. And the fact that he could be coming back into an immediate title shot now, and that's one of the rumors, and y'all are like, oh, well, obviously, and you guys don't see how weird that is. That's the problem that I have. As far as toxicity, though, I'm going to say you guys are going to be, at your height, y'all were an A. But I'm going to say now you're a high B tier. Next up, Charles Oliveira. I am a Charles Oliveira fan. And right away, I'm not going to say they're super toxic, purely because our biggest sins, really, is there's a lot of us that believe that we could not only beat Khabib in his prime, but we could beat Islam Makhachev right now. I'm sorry. Khabib Nurmagomedov is a very tough fight. I think that's more winnable of a fight than Islam Makhachev. I think Islam Makhachev has the perfect style to fight somebody like Charles. And here's the thing, Islam Makhachev is also really fucking good. Like, I'll just say that right now. Like, he should be pound for pound number one. But the fact that there's a lot of Charles fans that... This is my theory. I think there's a large portion of Charles fans that are the runoff from Conor. Let me explain. So, Conor McGregor loses to Dustin. Dustin became super popular, became a superstar, because Conor fans just want to be a part of a guy that wins. So, they went over to Dustin. Dustin, good personality, loses to Charles. Everybody went to Charles. That's what I think happened. But I'm going to say D tier, honestly, because y'all are just supportive. Like, that's really just it. Like, y'all counteract the Dagestani fans, and we'll get to them in a second. But y'all are probably, like, the least I'm going to turn the brightness up. I would probably say just slightly annoying when his fights come around, and I'm a part of you. Next up, DDP. Okay. Y'all annoy me because there's not a ton of you, and if you are from, like, South Africa, and you're a, like, Dricus du Plessis fan, I get it. But at the same time, there's a solid amount of you that really annoy me when you say that the Strickland fight wasn't close. I'm sorry. It was a split decision. 3 people couldn't fucking agree that your dude won, first off. But second off, you guys were acting like Dricus du Plessis doing what he did was like, oh, obviously he was going to do well in the championship rounds. What in his career would have made you think that? I hate people that will, like, look at a fight and it ends in an unexpected way, and then they'll go and, like, fucking Twitter, and then they'll say, see, I predicted he would win by a decision. No, you're not an MMA expert. You're just a casual that got a pick right. Anybody who picked Dricus du Plessis to win by a decision, I'm sorry. That's not, like, a crazy prediction. Anybody who has, like, good MMA knowledge would have thought Dricus was going to win in the first 2. That's what I thought he was going to win. The fact that he won by a decision is absolutely insane, but I'm ranting about that. Dricus du Plessis right now, like, we're reaching the peak of toxicity, and it's a natural thing for MMA fighters that do become champion. I'm gonna say you're at Israel Adesanya level right now, but Israel fans are more toxic than you. I dislike Israel fans more than I dislike you. Next up, Francis Ngannou. Yup, we're doing Francis. Okay. During his height in the UFC, somehow you guys were cool. I like the Francis Ngannou fans. However, you motherfuckers are guilty of what the Drickus fans did, but even worse. Y'all really are acting that, like, Francis Ngannou going to boxing and doing as well as he did against Tyson Fury is obvious. The amount of people that came out of the woodwork when Francis surprisingly did well and went on Twitter and said, that's what you guys get for doubting Francis. More UFC fighters need to do this. You are going to end hundreds of people's careers. The fact is no other UFC fighter would be able to do what Francis did, and the fact that he was able to do what he did is a miracle in and of itself. Like, let's be real here. What Francis did is a miracle, and y'all guys are acting like you predicted it. Like, it's so annoying. Like, part of me wishes Francis failed just so you guys wouldn't exist. I'm going to put you guys in A tier just because I hate people who put out predictions that are so outlandish, and then when they magically get right, they're like, guess you don't know sports like I do. No, motherfucker, you were lucky. Next up, Colby Covington. Oh, my lord. Okay. I'm going to push back Francis. I don't hate you. I don't hate Francis fans as much as I dislike Colby fans. I don't care what politics you agree with. Don't bring that shit in sports. Like, we get mad when, like, I'm not going to say any names, but when other politics get pushed in other sports. I'm the same way with all politics. Like, do not bring that shit into sports, okay? If Dana White wants to talk about it, by all means talk about it. If you want to talk about it in the press conferences, by all means. But when you start, like, bringing that shit into... Actually... Even press conferences, I'm 50-50 on. It's too much. It's an obvious character. I think Colby Covington believes what he believes, but at the same time, it's like, you are a caricature of yourself, brother. Like, I understand why the character was put in place and what the UFC tried to do to you was scummy, but at the same time, you played the heel, and you had a fight against Leon Edwards that, in all honesty, was pretty embarrassing. So, yeah. I'm going to say A tier. Like, we enjoyed you because a lot of people dislike Kamaru Usman, and that's why a lot of people liked being a Colby fan. But at this point, it's just outdated. Next up, Khabib Nurmagomedov fans. Okay, you know what? I'm going to move Francis down. I'm going to move Francis down the C tier. I think I was a little bit too angry about that. I'll move you down the C tier, fine. Khabib Nurmagomedov fans are in A tier, okay? And for anybody who's going to say, wait, he's not in cancer, don't worry. There's another group of fans that are similar to Khabib fans that are undeniably deserving of cancer tier. Trust me, we'll get to that in a second. Khabib Nurmagomedov fans, their biggest sin is they treat Khabib like a religious figure. Like, I hate when people bring politics in the sports, and I hate when religion in sports isn't the worst. But when you legitimately treat Khabib like a... It got weird. Khabib at his height was absolutely wild. Oh, and for whatever reason, I've said this in the other video, Khabib fans have such a weird obsession with tearing down absolutely everything Conor has done. Like, let me, like, spoil something for you. If Khabib never fought Conor, nobody would give a fuck about Khabib. I'm sorry. Like, he would not be anywhere near the heights that he was. Like, don't get me wrong, I think he would have been good. Like, but Conor's the one that put the magnifying glass on Khabib. No, I don't even think that's a hot take anymore. Khabib would have always been as good as he is, but he wouldn't have been regarded as the GOAT if there's no Conor. Because nobody cared about lightweight before then. It was like people are going to bring up, BJ Penn, Benson Henderson. I hear what you're saying. Conor brought publicity to the lightweight division. That's just a fact. Lightweight is the most popular division in the UFC right now. All the prospects are coming up in the lightweight division because they want to be the new Conor. Like, don't get me wrong, Khabib inspired a lot of people. Make no mistake about it. but Conor inspired more. I would argue Conor inspired more people to not only watch, do, train, go into a career in MMA fighting than Khabib has ever done. Outside of, like, that's what I would argue. And Khabib fans don't want to accept that for whatever reason. It's not like it hurts your guys' case, okay? Khabib's best win is Conor. There's Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje. Charles beat them and beat them quicker. Like, that's my problem with Khabib fans. Y'all treat him like a religious figure. You can't say anything bad about Khabib, even though there are things that you can bring up against Khabib's legacy. And for whatever reason, you suit down everything Conor fans do. But don't worry, we're going to get the Conor fans. Conor fans are actually a cancer tier. Like, don't get me wrong. I'll defend Conor fans up to a certain point. But you guys can be a bit much. Like, there is a, like, a beauty in the symmetry between Conor fans and Khabib fans, because both of you guys keep each other in check, while, like, the saying MMA fans will watch you bicker. Because if Conor McGregor fans aren't checked, we leave you alone for long enough, you guys will somehow trick, like, new fans into thinking that Conor McGregor's the best MMA fighter of all time. I have met people that to this day believe Conor's the best MMA fighter of all time. I'm sorry. Or they'll say, oh, Conor's the best until Khabib beat him, that's why Khabib is the best. You guys... y'all annoy me, okay? Khabib fans put Conor fans in check. Conor fans put Khabib fans in check. Y'all equal each other out, but there's a reason that he's not in cancer tier. And it is because y'all will defend literally everything this man does. And don't get me wrong, there's some stuff that's it's just admittedly funny. But at the same time, it's like, listen, there is no universe where Conor is going to make a comeback, okay? Like, the leading rumor is that the best chance that Conor has of winning a belt is they're going to make Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler for the 165-pound title, and the winner of that gets the belt for the 165-pound title. They had to make a fucking division for the dude. That's the leading rumor. He's not going to come back and win a belt unless that happens. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. Paulo Costa. I'm going to say very low B tier going in the C tier. Why do I say that? Because, let's face it, Paulo Costa, if he didn't have a good Twitter, his career would have ended. Okay? Like, it is super annoying, and the one thing that's saving you from, like, our A tier is because Costa fans even have realized that, okay, brother, you need to fight at 185 or we're done. Like, the fact is if any other MMA fighter that didn't have the name value of Costa did this, they would be kicked from the UFC and people would cheer about it. Like, you missed weight against Marvin Vettori. I understand it was funny what he said, like, oh, that's your problem. No. Like, that's pretty annoying. If he pulls out of his fight with Robert Whittaker again, you're done. Get out of the UFC. Outside of that, his Twitter is goated, though. I will respect. The Twitter game is keeping his career alive. Alexander Volkanovski fans. I'm going to say either D or C tier. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a little bit of Volkanovski fans that are just a tad bit annoying, but bro was disrespected most of his career, so it kind of just counteracts the amount of, like, underrated takes people had on him. How about this? I'm going to put Volkanovski in D tier, and I'm going to put Charles in C tier. I think that evens things out a little bit. I think the worst thing that Volkanovski fans have done is they argue that there should be a trilogy. I don't think there should be a trilogy against Islam Makhachev. I think that ship has sailed. I do think Volkanovski is going to retire. Let's say this. Volkanovski loses to Ilia Topuria. Volkanovski's still the best featherweight to ever live. Okay, Max Holloway's number 2. And don't worry, we're going to get to Max Holloway in a second. But Volkanovski is the best featherweight to ever live. But no, we're not doing a trilogy anymore. It's done. Next up, Islam Makhachev. The most annoying part about you is you are associated with 2 other fan bases here. But in all honesty, I actually kind of like Islam Makhachev. Like, I'm going to put him low B tier. Like, the worst part about your fan base is you're associated with the Khabib fan base and the Dagestani fan base, which is at the end of the video. Outside of that, I actually think Islam Makhachev is really good. Like, I do think he will become better than Khabib. Like, I think by the end of his career, he's going to be better than Khabib. He should be the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the UFC based off how we're judging it. Underrated personality. Islam Makhachev, out... when he can finally say a sentence, he's pretty funny. I think he has a better personality than most Dagestani fighters. Fairly likable, pretty chill dude. Spit some facts about John Jones that nobody wanted to bring up. And yeah, I'm going to say low B tier, but you guys can get annoying too whenever it's time for him to fight. I'm sorry. Next up, John Jones. Y'all are the Tom Brady fans of MMA. Okay? You like him because he hasn't lost. And no, here's the funniest part about it, is you guys will always, like, when you guys are talking about John, you'll bring up, oh, and that one loss that he had against Hamill, oh, that doesn't count. We fucking know. We've heard it from Joe Rogan before. Some of us actually watched the fight. We know that it wasn't a legit loss. However, your boo, has tested positive more than any other UFC fighter. Bro bragged about surviving USADA, hid under an octagon to get out of USADA testing, hit a pregnant lady and ran off. Got domestic abuse. Like, we have a lot. Like, here's the thing. If you want to say he's the GOAT... Oh, yeah, and that's another thing. They insist that he's the GOAT and that all the stuff that he was caught juicing should be completely disregarded. And here's the thing. I would agree with you if GSP wasn't a person. GSP being a person invalidates what you're saying because GSP never tested positive for anything, despite fighting in that era. Like, you can say, oh, well, he was probably doing something. It's just like, did he test positive, though? No proof, brother. Like, you're not guilty by association. John Jones is just guilty. So, yeah, y'all annoy me. I'm actually going to put you in A tier purely because I can. Now, Jones fans throw me off, dude. Discussing MMA with the Jones fans, like, y'all are also, like, the Floyd... You guys are also bringing, like, the Floyd Mayweather syndrome to MMA, and I don't think you guys want that, because the undefeated record thing that happened in boxing is one of the worst things to happen to any sport, because what it did is it made it so, oh, if I lose, then I can't be considered the GOAT. No, that shouldn't be a thing. I think you should have to avenge your losses, but, like, Khabib being 29-0... but 13 of those arguably shouldn't count. Like, that's the thing. Like, we're judging it by the caliber of your competition. And in my opinion, if you've gone 29-0, how much did you challenge yourself? Like, light heavyweight was never a great division. Like, we can say that now. Light heavyweight is not a great division. Do you know how I know that? Because of how many times the title has changed hands since Jones left. What that shows is that everybody is near the same skill level, and for Jones to be able to dominate the entirety of the light heavyweight division, he was just one level above. If you can hold the title for a long amount of time, when I mean by long, I don't mean like 3, 5. No. I'm talking like we're getting into the 10s. Your division probably isn't that good. We can say this about middleweight. Middleweight is just not a great division. Neither is light heavyweight. The higher weight classes are not great divisions, okay? I like welterweight and below are the best divisions. But yeah, no, that's my little Jones rant. Crucify me in the comment section. Y'all are annoying. Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev fans are waking up. Like, the thing is you can't just call out fighters that you know you're not going to get a fight. And here's the frustrating part about it. Khamzat Chimaev is good enough to become a champion. He could have I think he does beat Leon if he was still at welterweight. I think he would have become a welterweight champion. I think he has a decent shot at beating somebody like Israel. Alex Pereira at 205, probably not. 185, probably. Strickland's a solid maybe. I think his toughest matchups are against people like Robert Whittaker and Dricus du Plessis, and maybe even a Marvin Vettori. But the fact is he's waited so long and has detoured his line to the title so heavily by missing weight, taking a whole year off of fighting, for really no reason that he's given outside, like... That's the problem that I have with Khamzat Chimaev. Yes, there are things that were out of his control that kept him out, but at the same time, if you're going to go out for a year, like what I'm talking about is like Kevin Holland to his next fight, we literally don't know what took him so long. Like, you've held up your career on that point. Khamzat Chimaev is good enough to become the two-division champion. Well, he was. I don't think he can do it for 185 and 205, but he could have done it for 185 and 170, but he waited too long. And now, middleweight is becoming a division of wrestlers. You have people like Ikram Aliskerov that could beat Khamzat Chimaev, and people like Bo Nickel that have better wrestling than Khamzat. Like, that's going to be the problem. I don't think he would reign for very long, because I think somebody who has decent wrestling that can take him into the championship rounds is going to beat him. So yeah, Khamzat Chimaev fans, you guys are only bad if you defend what he did, and in that case, I'm going to put you right next to Israel fans because of your denial. But most Khamzat fans understand that the reason Khamzat Chimaev isn't a champion isn't because of people are ducking him. No, it's because he's calling out people that have absolutely no reason to fight him. Why would Alex Pereira, the 205-pound champion, fight Khamzat Chimaev, somebody who's ranked number 9 in the middleweight division? Logically, why would he fight him? Next up, Max Holloway. I'm going to put you guys in C tier. Because the most annoying part about you is you guys still believe that Max Holloway would beat Alexander Volkanovski. Like, here's the thing. Yes, Max Holloway arguably should have won the second fight. Lost the first, lost the third. That's how a trilogy works. Let's say your guy won because that's what the MMA media treated it as when they went into the third fight. The only reason they justified a third is because so many people thought Max Holloway won the second and he was so much more popular than Volk at the time. So that's why they justified it. Volk pieced your boy up in the third. Like, the beef's been settled. Max Holloway is competing for second place against Jose Aldo. I would go as far to say this. I think at the end of all of their respective careers, the featherweight GOAT ranking is going to go something like this. Volkanovski number 1, Max Holloway narrowly number 2, and Jose Aldo number 3. You can argue Jose Aldo and Max Holloway all you want. But at the same time, I think Volkanovski has cemented himself as the best featherweight. I've already said that. So yeah, I'm going to say C tier. You guys are actually really cool. You guys are just annoying with the fact that you still believe Max Holloway is better than Volk. But if you don't think Max Holloway is better than Volk, you're cool. You're one of the good ones. Next up, Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley's not a bigger superstar than Strickland. Like, get that through your head. Sean O'Malley arguably lost to Petr Yan. What else? O'Malley is one of the better strikers at bantamweight and arguably one of the better strikers in the UFC. That's what I will give you. As far as being annoying, y'all insist that O'Malley is the second coming of Conor McGregor. No. That's UFC propaganda, bro. That's legit UFC propaganda. O'Malley is not the second coming of McGregor. I would be shocked if he's even at, like, that high star level. Like, Aljamain vs. O'Malley reportedly sold only 350,000 pay-per-views. To put that into perspective, that's how much Henry Cejudo vs. Aljamain Sterling did. And these numbers are coming from Aljamain Sterling, the guy who would be getting the pay-per-view points. O'Malley's not a big star. He's a star, not a huge star. Like, I would argue Pereira and Strickland are bigger stars than O'Malley right now. Get that through your head. I'm going to put you guys as above... I'm gonna put you guys above Israel Adesanya. You guys haven't gotten to your peak level of annoying. If Sean O'Malley beats Cheeto, I think you guys will earn an A tier. But you guys aren't like the cancer of MMA fans yet. Next up, Sean Strickland. Okay. I'm a Strickland fan. We are the lowest of the B tiers. Because I understand. You can argue Strickland beat Dricus du Plessis. It was not a robbery. It was a close fight. I made the same argument for Dricus du Plessis, okay? I can see the argument that Strickland should have won, and I also see the argument that Dricus should have won. But at the same time, we can't fucking bully everybody that disagrees with us. Strickland, like, here's the thing. What's apparently happening now is you have rumors that Khamzat Chimaev is going to be fighting Israel Adesanya at UFC Saudi Arabia. That's why they moved the event. If that's the case, then Sean Strickland's going to get a rematch. Like, think of it like that. I think that's a fun fight. Strickland's a low B tier. Listen, he is probably the most entertaining MMA fighter as of right now. And I would argue top 3 polls, draws in the UFC right now. But at the same time, can we not go after every MMA media member for saying that our boy lost when it wasn't a robbery? Next up, Alex Pereira. Y'all are only toxic when it has anything to do with Israel Adesanya or Jamal Hill. Other than that, you guys are pretty chill. I'm actually going to put you right under Khamzat Chimaev fans. And right under Khamzat Chimaev fans because they are in denial. And right above Dricus du Plessis because I think you guys are just a little bit more toxic than Dricus. What is the biggest sin of the Pereira fans? What is the biggest sin of a Pereira fan? Okay, he's one-dimensional. Y'all deny that he's a one-dimensional striker. The fact is, it is super impressive that he's been able to do what he's been able to do in MMA while being one-dimensional. And when I mean like middleweight and light heavyweight are not talented divisions, you can actually use Alex Pereira as an example of that. Because in what world can somebody come from a background like Alex Pereira and not just win one belt, but win 2 belts? Like, that proves to me that these divisions aren't super great. I'm actually going to move Alex Pereira. The more I think about it, Alex Pereira probably right under Max Holloway fans. Yeah, you guys aren't super toxic. And finally, in my opinion, the only other fan base that could be in the same echelon as Conor fans are the Dagestani fan base. Let me go with my little rant. You guys are the reason that nobody wants to root for Dagestani fighters. Of all the death threats that I have received from doing content creation, almost all of them have come from you. Just because you guys are a part of the same religion does not mean that your guy is beyond all criticism. You can criticize a Dagestani fighter without getting a death threat. Conor McGregor fans won't do that. They'll call you names. Colby fans will just call you a virgin. Dagestani fans are going to DM you some of the most creative insults I have ever seen. Like, y'all need to chill. Like, you guys are bringing a cancer in, like that's the thing. Like, nobody wants to root for Khabib. Nobody wants to root for Islam Makhachev, Magomed Ankalaev. And even if they have a fun style, like, I think Islam Makhachev has a pretty fun style because he is super well-rounded. Nobody wants to root for them because they don't want to be associated with you. That's the problem here. And for anybody saying, it's like, well, I like the Dagestani fighters, there's a difference here. Do you send death threats to people that rightfully criticize your fighter? If yes, no, you're a cancer in the MMA community. If no, okay, you're pretty cool. I would argue you're probably like the Tom Brady fans, well, not Tom Brady fans, the Patriots fans of the MMA community. You only like them because they win. Like, that's a solid portion of people that love Dagestani fighters. You're either from the area, or you just like them because they almost always win. And nobody wants to be a bandwagon, but you guys don't see the problem in that. So yeah, Conor McGregor and Dagestani fans, in my opinion, are the worst fan bases in the MMA community. Khabib Nurmagomedov is going to be high A tier, probably like an A+. I've changed it. Colby Covington and John Jones, A tier. And B tier, y'all are pretty annoying, but at the same time, there's room for improvement, and you guys aren't at the upper echelon of terrible. C tier, y'all are barely annoying. D tier, honestly, yeah, I think I did pretty good on this. I know there's a few fighters that I probably missed, but these are the ones that, for whatever reason, whenever I make content on their favorite fighter, y'all are the first ones to go in the comment section to write a whole paragraph defending the man. So tell me what you think in the comment section below. Do you guys think that this ranking is right? If not, tell me how do you think I should change it. And thank you guys for watching, subscribing. You guys are really helping me in the algorithm. Listen, daily MMA content, I get a subscribe. That's our little deal that we have going on. Y'all are holding up your side, so I hold up my side. This is your daily MMA content. And with that out of the way, adios, guys, and thank you for watching.